Man, I thought my wedding day was gonna be the best moment of my life. But there I was, standing at the altar, waiting for the woman I believed I'd grow old with, and she never showed up. Instead of my bride, my best buddy and business partner, Ethan, strolled through the church doors. His face was stone cold, no emotion, as he broke the news that Sophie wasn't coming. She'd bailed on me. Worse, she'd been sneaking around with him for months. Right there, with our families and friends watching, he hit me with the gut punch. She'd found someone better. It felt like the ground just vanished under my feet. My heart was pounding like crazy, my thoughts spinning out of control, but I didn't break down. No tears, no yelling. I just slapped on a fake smile and walked out of there. I wanted everyone to know I wasn't some broken victim. I was the guy who'd pick up the pieces and start over. What came next wasn't about getting even, it was about setting things right. I'd poured years into building a life I was proud of, and while they tried to tear it all down, I had other plans. I didn't just guard what was mine, I took charge of my future. Betrayal doesn't shape who you are, how you climb out of it does. That day wasn't the end of my story, it was the launch of something bigger, better, and proof you don't need to chase revenge to get what's truly yours. The real win. Moving forward, finding freedom, and learning sometimes the best move is to walk away and let life sort out the rest. I gotta take a second to give a huge thank you to all of you who followed my story. Your support, your comments, your encouragement, it's meant the world to me, more than I can put into words. Whether you've been through something like this or just dropped a kind note when things felt heavy, it's made a real difference. Sharing this hasn't been easy, it's been a wild ride full of hurt, betrayal, and, in the end, growth. Your messages kept reminding me there's strength in opening up and learning from each other's experiences. I hope my stories hit home for you, maybe giving you some strength, a new perspective, or just the comfort of knowing you're not alone in your struggles. Now, I'm turning it over to you. If you've dealt with something similar or got some wisdom to share, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. How did you navigate betrayal or rough patches? What helped you keep moving forward? Your stories could be exactly what someone else needs to take their next step. Let's keep this conversation rolling, keep lifting each other up. Life's got its challenges, but it's also packed with chances to grow and rebuild. So, whether you're in the middle of a storm or you've made it through, let's dive into this together. What can we take away? How do we keep pushing forward? Can't wait to hear from you and keep this journey going. There I was, standing at the front of the church, all decked out in a crisp black suit, hands sweaty, heart racing, waiting for the love of my life to walk down that aisle. Sophie and I had spent over a year planning every detail of this day. Our families were all there, the venue glowing with soft lights, and our friends were seated, buzzing with excitement for the ceremony to kick off. But she was running late. Minutes dragged on, and the knot in my gut just kept tightening. 30 minutes turned into 45, and by then, I was practically choking on anxiety. Where was she? What the heck was going on? Then Ethan showed up. Ethan, my best friend from college, my partner in our tech startup, the guy I trusted with my biggest dreams and deepest secrets. He walked in, his face blank as a slate, and headed straight for me. When Ethan spoke, his voice was icy, like he was reading a script. I stood there, frozen, my brain struggling to catch up with what he'd just said. She wasn't coming. What the heck did that even mean? Ethan didn't even blink. She's moved on to someone better, me, he said, his words sharp and deliberate. He let that sink in for a moment, then flashed a smug grin. Been that way for months. The whole room seemed to hold its breath, the silence so thick it felt like it was choking me. My body went cold, and I just stared at him, barely able to pull air into my lungs. Everyone in the crowd was watching, probably expecting me to fall apart right there. I managed to choke out a quiet, "What's that?" The church felt like it was spinning around me. "Yeah," Ethan said with a careless shrug. "We didn't want to hurt you, man, but she chose me. That's just how it goes." He tossed it out so casually, like he was talking about grabbing a coffee, not shattering my life. My heart was hammering, but weirdly, no tears came. I wasn't raging. I wasn't even crushed. Honestly, I didn't know what I was feeling. But one thing was for sure, I wasn't about to let them see me lose it. I took a deep breath, turned to the crowd, and forced a grin. "Thanks for being here, folks, but there's no wedding happening today," I said, my voice steady even though I was a mess inside. "Feel free to enjoy the food and drinks, but that's it for now." Then I spun around and walked out, their stares burning holes in my back. As soon as I stepped outside, my phone started buzzing like crazy. My sister, my parents, Sophie's parents, even some buddies, everyone was trying to reach me, but I just let it ring. I hopped in my car and drove, no destination in mind, until I ended up at a random hotel and checked in, not even sure why. I sat on the edge of the bed, my phone still going off, staring at the plain wall, my mind blank. I wasn't crying or yelling. I wasn't even mad. I just sat there, numb. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Ethan wasn't just my best man, he was my partner in our tech startup. We'd spent 4 years grinding, pouring our own cash into it, working late nights, and we just landed a huge acquisition deal set to close next week. It was supposed to make us both millionaires. Sophie knew all about it, she was thrilled about it, or so I thought. And now, here I was, alone in a hotel room, ditched by the woman I loved and stabbed in the back by the guy I trusted most. I tried to piece it together, but it just didn't add up. Why would they do this? But as I sat there, something clicked. The anger I expected never showed up. The betrayal didn't hit as hard as I thought it would. Instead, I felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted. That night, alone in that quiet hotel room, I started piecing together what had happened. Sophie and Ethan were gone, out of my life. But I still had my business, my dreams, my future. They might have walked away, but I could reshape what came next. For the first time in forever, I felt like I was back in the driver's seat. I wasn't going to waste energy obsessing over why they did it, it didn't matter anymore. The next few days were a haze. My phone kept blowing up with messages, but I ignored every single one. I didn't need their sympathy or their 2 cents. It took a bit, but I started to see it, maybe this wasn't the end of my story. Maybe it was just the start of something new. Sitting in that hotel room, the truth hit me like a freight train. This wasn't just a personal betrayal, it was calculated, planned out like a chess move. Sophie and Ethan had played me, but I wasn't about to just roll over. I took a deep breath, staring at the dull hotel walls, and made up my mind. If they wanted to play dirty, I'd show them how the game's really played. No way was this gonna play out like they expected. I wasn't about to let their betrayal turn me into some pathetic, broken guy they probably pictured me as. I'd poured too much sweat and sacrifice into this life to let them tear it down. First, I gotta say a huge thank you to everyone who's reached out with support. I never imagined my story would blow up like this online. Your messages have been a lifeline, more than you'll ever know. These past couple of weeks have been a wild ride. I've been crashing at my sister's place while I figure things out. Sophie cleared out most of her stuff from our apartment while I was gone, leaving her key on the counter with a note, "I'm sorry it went down like this. I hope you can forgive us someday." Forgive them? Yeah, that's not happening. Ethan's been blowing up my phone, saying we should talk like grown-ups. He's called me 17 times, and his last text was, "Don't screw this up for us just because you're in your feelings." Me, emotional? That's a laugh, coming from him. Yesterday, Sophie's mom showed up at my sister's, asking if I'd think about patching things up. Apparently, Sophie's been telling everyone I was controlling and emotionally distant, claiming that's why she had to find comfort elsewhere. Her mom even suggested Sophie was just confused and I should give her another shot. I just stared at her until she left, not bothering to respond to that nonsense. Meanwhile, I've been hustling hard. I've met with my lawyer 3 times this week. All those years building our company, I was the tech brain, the one turning our ideas into reality. Ethan was the smooth-talking frontman, winning over clients and building connections. We worked well together because we complemented each other. But what Ethan doesn't know is that while he and Sophie were sneaking around, I was quietly working on a next-gen product on my own. For the last year and a half, I've been burning the midnight oil, developing it outside of company hours. The acquisition team we're negotiating with is pumped about this tech. It's the real reason our company's valued so high, and I've got all the proof that I created it solo. Ethan's clueless about my side project. He also has no idea I've been chatting with the acquisition team, who know all about my work on this game-changing product. The deal's still on track, and both founders are supposed to stay on for 18 months post-sale. Ethan doesn't realize how my solo work is going to shake up the final agreement. He's totally in the dark, and I've got the evidence to back it up, emails, texts, showing how he planned to drop the affair bombshell right before the acquisition payday. One message really stuck with me. Ethan wrote, "The timing's perfect. He'll be too caught up in the wedding mess to notice the deal closing." Sophie replied, "He's too nice to push back, and he'll probably just let it go. We've got time." They're in for a surprise. Things are heating up fast. Last night, Ethan showed up at my condo, pounding on the door at 11 p.m. I didn't open it. He started shouting, calling me immature and saying I was risking everything we'd built by ghosting him. He's not wrong about one thing, we did build something amazing together. But he hasn't figured out that I'm the one who really made it happen. And I'm the one who's gonna take it to the next level without him. When I didn't answer, Ethan got louder, yelling through the hallway, "You're screwing up, Ryan. If you don't hear me out, you'll ruin everything." I almost laughed. Ethan's got no clue how big this is about to get, but he's gonna find out soon enough. I've already made my next play, and it's not just about settling scores with them. It's about reclaiming everything they tried to wreck. It's time to show them how this game is really played. My neighbor ended up calling security on Ethan. I watched through the peephole as they hauled him out of my building, still hollering that I owed him a chance to talk. Owed him? The nerve of that guy. This morning, Ethan tried to pull a fast one by emailing the acquisition company directly, cutting me out completely. He claimed I was too caught up in personal drama and told them to deal only with him. Lucky for me, my lawyer and I had already clued in the acquisition team about the situation. They forwarded me his email with a short note, "Is this the partner issue you warned us about?" Meanwhile, Sophie's gone full-on victim mode, posting a long-winded sob story on social media about toxic relationships and how the heart sometimes picks a different road. A bunch of our mutual friends jumped in, tossing out hearts and supportive comments. The kicker. Ethan's sister, Grace, called me that afternoon, trying to explain how these things just happen and nobody meant to hurt me. She had the gall to say I should be grown up enough to keep business and personal stuff separate. I couldn't help it, I laughed out loud and hung up without saying another word. Ethan still hasn't caught on that I've been keeping tabs on everything, every text, every email, every conversation where he schemed to screw me over. As of yesterday, I'd locked down all the proof I needed, ironclad documentation showing I'm the sole creator of the next G product, which accounts for 70% of our company's valuation. The big acquisition meeting is set for 2 days from now. Ethan thinks we're both showing up to sign the final papers together. He has no idea I already had a private sit-down with the acquisition team. It's been a crazy 3 months, but today everything came together like I'd planned. The meeting with the acquisition company went off without a hitch. When Ethan rolled in 15 minutes late, as I figured he would, he walked into a scene that stopped him cold. I was already at the table, my lawyer by my side, surrounded by the whole executive team, all of us ready to go. Ethan froze when he noticed the empty spot where his chair should have been. "What's happening here?" he stammered, confusion written all over his face. My lawyer slid a thick folder across the table toward him. Inside was every piece of evidence proving I alone built the next G product, timestamps, development logs, patent applications, all in my name only. You can't pull this, Ethan blurted, his face flushing as he tried to wrap his head around it. This is our company. That's our product. I leaned back in my chair, cool as a cucumber, soaking in the moment. Actually, I said, locking eyes with him and speaking slow and clear, the company's ours, sure. But this tech. It's mine. I built it on my own time, nights and weekends, and I've got the receipts to prove it. The CEO of the acquisition company leaned in, giving Ethan a hard stare. We've gone through the documentation, Ethan. While we appreciate both of your roles in the original company, this next-gen tech is why we're here. It's about 70% of the deal's value. Ethan's eyes went wide, and for the first time since I've known him, I saw a spark of panic in his expression. The reality was hitting him like a ton of bricks. The acquisition team was here for my product, the one he thought he could claim. He opened his mouth to argue, but the words seemed to get stuck, like he was scrambling to find something to say. You could see the desperation creeping in that it was over, and there was no going back. Did you really think this is how it'd play out? I asked Ethan, keeping my voice steady and calm. You figured I'd just cave, let you walk away with everything I built. But this was never just about Sophie. It was about safeguarding what I created with my own hands. Ethan didn't say a word. He just sat there, eyes glued to the table, probably wishing he could rewind time, but that ship had sailed. The acquisition CEO shifted his focus to me. We've gone over the terms, Ryan, and we're ready to proceed, he said. The final offer will reflect the true value of your intellectual property. I gave a nod, but the victory didn't hit like I thought it would. This wasn't about gloating or getting even. It was about taking back what was mine, plain and simple. Ethan and Sophie were now just a chapter one could slam shut for good. When the meeting wrapped, I stood up, ready to move on with my life. As Ethan tried to trail after me, I shot him one last look. Good luck, Ethan. You're gonna need it, I said, then walked out, knowing my future was finally mine to mold. Ethan looked like he'd been hit by a truck. He sat there, stunned, as the CEO laid out the new reality with a calm, matter-of-fact tone. But the deal, we were both supposed to, Ethan stammered, his voice fading as he grappled with the shift in the room. The deal's still happening, the CEO replied evenly, but the terms have changed. Your partner has proven he's the sole creator of the tech we're after. He turned to me. Our offer to Ryan stands firm. Your share, Ethan, is being adjusted to reflect your role. Ethan's eyes darted to me, flashing with accusation. You set this up from the start, he snapped. No, I shot back, cool and steady. I was just doing my work while you were busy sneaking around with my fiancée. Those words hung heavy, and Ethan deflated, silent and small. The meeting moved on without him in the spotlight. The acquisition was greenlit, with me getting 85% of the payout based on the value of my intellectual property. Ethan would get the remaining 15%, tied to his part in the original business. We'd both still need to stick around for the 18-month transition period as planned, but the power dynamic had flipped completely. That afternoon, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Ethan fired off a string of texts, "You can't do this to me. I'll take you to court. You've ruined everything." Then Sophie chimed in, "What did you do? Ethan's falling apart. We need to talk, now. This isn't fair, it was just a relationship thing." Then came the onslaught from their allies. Ethan's sister, Grace, "How could you be so spiteful? Ethan's mom, after everything he's done for you. Even our mutual friend Jake, man, you're taking this too far." I didn't bother replying. Instead, I sent them all something better, screenshots of the texts where Ethan and Sophie plotted to blindside me on our wedding day, timing their affair to mess me up right before the acquisition, thinking I'd be too broken to fight back. The messages and calls dried up almost instantly. An hour later, my real estate agent emailed me, the sale of my condo had closed. By tomorrow, I'd be on a plane, ready to start fresh. Ethan and Sophie could have each other, but they wouldn't get the future they tried to steal from me. It's been 6 months since that acquisition meeting, and I'm writing this from my new place with an ocean view. The scenery helps, it's a daily reminder that I've cut ties with the past. The acquisition deal went through smoothly. I stuck around as a consultant to help with the transition, tying up loose ends, and then I walked away for good. Being financially free at 32 feels almost unreal, like I'm living in a dream. I've come to savor the calm, finding peace in a life no longer tangled up in emotional chaos. Ethan didn't take it well. His threats to drag me to court fizzled out fast once his lawyer got a look at my intellectual property paperwork. It was crystal clear that my side project, built on my own time, wasn't part of the company's assets. So, while Ethan and I are still at the company, we're in totally different departments now, and whatever partnership we had is dead and buried. Sophie's gone quiet, too. I haven't heard a peep from her in months. Guess she realized spinning her side of the story was a losing battle. Ethan tried to paint me as the bad guy, but his version couldn't stand up to the truth of what went down. In the end, I've got what counts: control of my future, financial security, and a clean slate. Ethan and Sophie can live their lives, but they'll never get the future they thought they'd snatch from me. I've moved on, and I'm finally free. Whenever Ethan and I end up in the same room, you can cut the tension with a knife. The acquisition team does their best to keep us apart, trying to keep things professional during this 18-month transition. Every day that passes, I'm counting down to when I can leave this mess behind for good. Ethan's reputation has taken a beating. Once some key clients caught wind of what happened, they ditched him and followed me to my new venture. It's clear they trust me more than they trust him now. Ethan still got some cash from his 15% cut of the deal, but it's nowhere near the millions he was banking on. He's not living the high life, just scraping by on what's left. Last month, Sophie sent me a long, heartfelt email, spilling her guts about how she messed up big time and claiming she never stopped loving me. Turns out, Ethan dumped her 3 months after the wedding disaster, once the new financial reality hit him hard. She's back living with her parents now. Their relationship crashed and burned spectacularly once the money factor was gone. It was built on nothing solid. Karma's funny like that, isn't it? The weirdest part. I don't feel a thing for either of them anymore. No anger, no bitterness, just this odd, empty calm. I've made peace with it all and moved forward. Some unexpected things have come out of this. Ethan's younger brother, Liam, reached out to say sorry. Unlike the rest of Ethan's family, he saw how screwed up the whole thing was and didn't try to defend his brother's actions. Liam and I have actually become buddies, which is a bit of a bright spot in all this. A few investors, impressed by how I handled everything, have approached me about my next project. Turns out, doing the right thing still counts for something in business. I've started dipping my toes back into dating, nothing serious yet, but it feels good to know betrayal doesn't have to define your whole life. To everyone who's had my back through this, thank you from the bottom of my heart. The advice to stay cool, keep records, and let the chips fall where they may was dead on. It's been a long haul, but I'm stronger for it. If you're out there dealing with something similar, here's my 2 cents. Sometimes the best way to get even isn't some big showdown. It's just letting people face the fallout of their choices while you keep pushing towards something better. I'm closing this chapter of my life now, and I won't be posting updates anymore. What's done is done. That I hadn't planned on sharing another update, but something went down yesterday that feels like the final piece of closure for everyone who's followed my story. I was back in my hometown for a buddy's wedding. Yeah, I know, talk about irony. While cutting through the hotel lobby, I spotted Ethan's mom at the bar. I tried to slip by without a word, but she caught sight of me and marched right over. "You wrecked my son's life," she said, loud enough to turn heads nearby. I took a deep breath, keeping my cool. I'd come too far to let her rattle me now. "Your son made his own choices," I replied, my voice steady as a rock. "And I made mine." She wasn't having it, her voice climbing higher. You ruined everything, his business, his reputation, his relationship, all he worked for. It's gone because of you. By now, people were staring, and her anger was feeding off the attention, but I wasn't about to let her get to me. I kept my eyes locked on hers, calm as ever. I didn't ruin anything. Your son picked his path, and I picked mine. We all live with the fallout of our decisions. Her face turned red with fury, and for a second, it looked like she'd keep yelling. But she just stood there, fuming, before storming off, leaving me in the lobby, feeling strangely untouched by the whole thing. And that was it. No big showdown, no dramatic finale, just a reminder that some folks will never own up to their actions, and you can't let them pull you down with them. For me, this really is the end of that chapter. Now, I'm just excited for whatever's next. Your son cheated with my fiancée, schemed to humiliate me at our wedding, and tried to cut me out of my own company, I said. What did you think would happen? Her face flushed deeper as she stammered. It wasn't like that. Sophie came on to him, didn't she? He was just trying to break it to you easy. I couldn't help but laugh. By announcing she found someone better in front of our family and friends. That was easy. I shook my head, almost in disbelief. You didn't have to destroy him financially, she pushed back. That was spiteful. No, I said, my voice calm and even. Spite would have been blasting everyone with the texts where they planned my betrayal down to the minute. Spite would have been taking the whole deal for myself and leaving him with nothing, which I could have done with the tech I built. She went quiet, with no comeback for that. What I did, I went on, was protect my work and still let him walk away with something. As I started to leave, she called after me. He's still struggling to pick up the pieces, you know. Are you happy now? I stopped, turned, and looked her dead in the eye. I'm not happy or sad about Ethan, I said, letting the words land. I just don't care anymore. That's the difference between revenge and justice. Revenge eats you up. Justice sets you free. With that, I walked out, enjoyed the rest of my weekend, and knew that chapter was finally closed. This is my last update, for real. I've moved on completely, building a new business, dating someone amazing, and looking ahead, not back. Life after betrayal isn't about settling scores, it's about finding freedom. And that freedom? It's worth its weight in gold. To everyone who's followed my story, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your messages, comments, and support have meant more than I can ever put into words. I've been through a lot, and if you're reading this, you've probably faced your own battles too. If you're dealing with betrayal, heartbreak, or the struggle of rebuilding after a personal or professional hit, know you're not alone. This whole mess taught me something big: life doesn't always follow the script you write. Sometimes, the folks you trust most end up cutting you the deepest. But here's the deal, that doesn't have to be the end of your journey. It doesn't decide who you are. I'd love for you to share your own stories and thoughts with me. Maybe you've been stabbed in the back, or maybe you've clawed your way through tough times. Whatever you've been through, I want to hear about it. I believe in the strength of community, and your words might just give someone else the push they need to keep going. Drop a comment below and tell me how you've handled stuff like this. Have you found peace, justice, or closure? Or are you still navigating the storm? No matter where you're at, your voice counts, and it could be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. I've come to see that the best advice I can give is pretty straightforward: don't let anyone else tell you what you're worth. When betrayal hits, when people try to knock you down, don't let them steal your strength. The toughest part is accepting you can't rewrite the past, but you've got full control over how you respond. Life's full of hurdles, and while some are out of your hands, your reaction is always your choice. What I hope you take from my story is that moving forward is a decision, not something that just happens. It's about owning your healing instead of waiting for someone else to patch you up. Yeah, it hurts, but it's also liberating. Clinging to anger or bitterness keeps you chained to what was. Choosing to let go, to push ahead, that's how you reclaim your life. And about revenge? Let me tell you, it's not the answer. It might feel good for a hot minute, but it'll eat you up inside over time. Justice, though, is different. It's about letting people face the natural fallout of their choices while you stay focused on building something better for yourself. Don't let anyone or anything pull you away from the life you want. If you're struggling right now, it's okay to feel lost, hurt, or unsure. But don't stay stuck in that place. Your future's still out there, waiting, and you've got the power to shape it. Keep moving forward. Let your story be about strength, not defeat. Thanks again to everyone who supported me. Your encouragement has meant the world. Please leave a comment below if you've got thoughts to share or just need to connect. Whatever you're going through, remember, you've got this.